They stole his first term as president. These absolute liars who run around trying to act like they're the protectors of democracy completely ruined it, tried to undermine it at every turn and at the highest levels with lies, with out and out lies that were really serious, and changed foreign policy and changed the course of history in this country in Trump's presidency. And there must be accountability. There has to be actual criminal accountability for those who lied. And I can't wait to see this administration do it.
Anybody can look at that and say that there wasn't aggressive violations of the law. What they basically did is they would take something that supported a Hillary Clinton campaign talking point and they would overemphasize it and exaggerate it. They took anything that actually contradicted that narrative and they buried it deep. And through that, they actually laundered Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign talking points through the American.
The myth of Hillary Clinton's inevitable presidency shatters under the relentless fire of Megyn Kelly and Vance, who dismantle her political image with brutal precision. Megyn exposes the arrogance, entitlement, and excuses that defined Hillary's rise, while Vance tears apart her record like a failed startup that burned billions before crashing. From her hollow Senate career to the humiliation of 2016, they reveal a painful truth. Hillary wasn't robbed of destiny. She was exposed as the ultimate political failure.
Remember, we've been talking about the documents that showed Loretta Lynch allegedly saying she would make sure it didn't go too far. So Hillary Clinton twice protected, according to these documents, for her utter corruption, her criminal corruption.
But if you look at what Tulsi and Kash Patel have revealed in the last couple of weeks, I don't know how anybody can look at that and say that there wasn't aggressive violations of the law. What they basically did is they defrauded the American people in order to take Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign talking points and turn them into intelligence by defrauding the American people, defrauding the intelligence agencies, lying about what...
For decades, Hillary Clinton's career carried the illusion of inevitability. Packaged as the chosen one, she was presented as the woman destined to shatter ceilings and reshape America's future. But inevitability is meaningless without substance, and Hillary's record proved it. Megyn Kelly rips through the carefully manufactured image, stripping away the polish to reveal an overhyped, underperforming politician whose greatest skill wasn't leading, but surviving scandals. Every time she entered the arena, her victories were drowned out by waves of baggage, mistrust, and political miscalculations so monumental they belong in textbooks on how not to run a campaign.
Okay, well, first of all, she didn't say he was an illegitimate.
Yes, she did.
You tell me exactly what she said.
She said those exact words repeatedly.
Okay, I mean, she conceded the election. Whether you're interpreting her disappointment at losing it as the same thing as Trump not conceding it, I don't know if that's where you're getting it from. But again, it's a tremendous false equivalency. You could ask Hillary Clinton right now who won that election. She will tell you.
Before we go further, if you're enjoying this video, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon for more deep dives like this. Vance doesn't hold back either, landing blows harder than any polite critique Hillary has ever faced. He calls her the kind of politician who assumes Americans are too naive to see the rot behind her speeches. Vance ridicules her cozy ties with Wall Street donors and foreign money funneled through the Clinton Foundation while pretending to fight for the little guy. And he drives home the irony of Hillary selling herself as the voice of women while running robotic, cold political operations that alienated even her supposed base. To Vance, Hillary is the ultimate case study in how power without authenticity is nothing more than a hollow crown.
Try to silence him and shut him up. And then consider, just yesterday, one of the chief surrogates of Kamala Harris's campaign is Hillary Clinton. And you know what Hillary Clinton said yesterday? She said that misinformation should be met with criminal penalties. That we ought to throw people in jail and silence them if they say something that Hillary Clinton disagrees with.
In the eye, it was such a jaw dropper. Watch. Hillary Clinton, of course, is the original election denier. I'm sure you voted for her in 2016.
Well, she's not an election denier.
She absolutely was the OG election denier.
First of all, she came out before the sun had risen to concede the election to Trump.
And then spent the next 4 years saying he was illegitimate. He was an illegitimate.
What makes Megyn Kelly's roast sting so deeply is its precision. She dissects Hillary's failures one by one, starting with her Senate career, as forgettable as a press release. No landmark legislation, no groundbreaking reforms, just another politician taking up space. Then Kelly moves to Hillary's time as Secretary of State, where her promise of leadership dissolved into disaster. Libya collapsed into chaos. Benghazi became a scandal that left families demanding answers. And her infamous private email server turned her into a national punchline. Megyn paints Hillary as a politician who mistook proximity to power for competence. But history shows she was never prepared for the responsibilities she demanded.
Talk politics for a minute. Hillary Clinton is back doing a late night tour. She spoke with Jimmy Fallon and she had some thoughts on this boiling down to Trump versus Biden again.
What do you say to voters who are upset that those are the two choices?
Get over yourself. Those are the two choices.
Yeah, I love that.
Right? And
J.D. Vance steps in to highlight Hillary's most humiliating chapter, losing to Donald Trump. For him, it wasn't just that she lost, it was how she lost. Hillary had the money, the endorsements, and the full weight of the Democratic machine behind her. Yet she still managed to fumble an election against a man the media swore could never win. Vance mocks the absurdity of the Democratic National Committee rigging the 2016 primaries to keep Bernie Sanders from crushing her, only for her to limp into the general election with no momentum. To Vance, Hillary was the political equivalent of a failed startup that burned through billions and collapsed under the weight of its own arrogance. She wasn't robbed of victory. She handed it away on a silver platter.
And here's the thing. If you're willing, my friends, if you are willing to throw a person in jail because you disagree with what they say, then you're going to be willing to put a bullet in their head too. So the Democrats, I call on every leader in this country, not just tone down the rhetoric, but tone down the censorship. Let's have a debate with one another. That's what Americans do. Stop trying to silence people.
Megyn Kelly drills into Hillary's most toxic trait, entitlement. Hillary believed the presidency was hers simply by existing, that America had no choice but to hand her the keys to the White House because she was next in line. But Megyn points out how insulting this was to voters. Americans don't like being told who they have to support, and Hillary's campaign reeked of inevitability instead of inspiration. Her speeches were stale, her messaging robotic, and her attempts to connect with everyday people felt more staged than reality TV. J.D. Vance sharpens the blade by mocking Hillary's infamous basket of deplorables moment, one of the single greatest acts of political self-sabotage in modern history. Insulting millions of voters while asking for their support wasn't just bad strategy. It was political delusion on a grand scale.
Just for the record, and our audience knows this and you guys, but just for the record, let's play SOT 10.
I do think that he knows that he's an illegitimate president. I believe he knows he's an illegitimate president. He knows that there were a bunch of different reasons why the election turned out the way it did. And
as I've been telling candidates who have come to see me, you can run the best campaign, you can even become the nominee, and you can have the election stolen from you.
Joe and Kamala can win by 3 million votes and still lose. Take it.
Vance points out that this one arrogant slip perfectly captured why voters rejected Hillary. She didn't respect them, didn't understand them, and viewed them as beneath her. That comment wasn't just a gaffe. It was a window into her real perspective. Once the mask slipped, voters punished her where it mattered most, the ballot box. Megyn Kelly continues by exposing Hillary's obsession with rewriting history. Even years later, she still blames sexism, Russia, James Comey, misinformation. everything except herself. Megyn compares her to a washed-up celebrity demanding encore tours long after the crowd stopped buying tickets. Instead of owning her failures, Hillary spins excuses like a factory line. But accountability and the Clintons have never been on speaking terms, and Hillary is no exception.
It's kind of like one is old and effective and compassionate, has a heart, and really cares about people, and one is old and has been charged with 91 felonies.
Yeah, okay.
I mean,
Okay, interesting.
I don't understand why this is even a hard choice.
Get over yourself. You don't matter. Do what's right for the global citizenry, which is clearly to elect the compassionate one with the heart. The guy who skipped Officer Diller's funeral, that fallen cop, got shot by somebody who'd been under arrest for 21.
Megyn Kelly reappears to rip into the Clinton brand itself. Once seen as a political powerhouse, by 2016, the name Clinton had become synonymous with corruption, arrogance, and scandal fatigue. Vance mocks Hillary's attempt to run as a reformer, while dragging decades of baggage, Bill's scandals, foreign donations, and FBI investigations. He compares the Clinton brand to a once famous company that overpromised, expanded too far, and crashed spectacularly, leaving voters, the shareholders, with nothing but disappointment. Megyn widens the frame, arguing that Hillary isn't an icon of leadership, but a warning sign about entitlement in politics. Her candidacy became the ultimate proof that voters won't just swallow any candidate the establishment feeds them. In that sense, Hillary did make history as the most spectacular example of what happens when arrogance meets reality.
Then, that was at the Vital Voices Global Partnership Awards, whatever that is. Then, look at this.
Oh.
She put out this mug. We'll put it on the screen. You can see it here on my notes.
Yeah,
Have you seen this?
I haven't seen it. I see a little
It's
one
a
on
mug
your
that's
notes.
got like an outline of her, and she's sipping a coffee, and it reads, "Turns out she was right about everything."
My God.
She tweeted it out, writing, or on Insta, "We recently had some new merch made based on a phrase I hear a lot."
Megyn Kelly lands the final knockout punch. Hillary's legacy isn't one of barriers broken, but of opportunities squandered. She had every advantage: money, media, connections, decades of experience. And yet she lost, not once, but twice, to men she dismissed as unqualified. Vance argues her story should be studied, not as a tale of sexism or bad luck, but as the definitive example of how power without authenticity collapses under pressure. The Hillary Clinton model isn't a blueprint for leadership. It's a cautionary tale for anyone who thinks they're owed success without earning it. No matter how many interviews she does, or how many times she claims she should have been president, the truth is undeniable. Hillary Clinton isn't destiny denied. She's destiny dodged.
Very different ballgame today than it was even 4 years ago, never mind 8 or 10 years ago when she was doing all this. And back to Hillary, you know, the whole, she has a hat she's tweeted herself out wearing, but her emails. She's tried to turn it into this ridiculous joke, like, oh, but the moon landing, like you nutcases who are still railing about this made up scandal, this thing that, you know, you've used to try to unfairly tar me. She did need to distract from that email scandal, which was around her neck like an albatross. Trust me, we were covering it every night on the Kelly.
The brutal reality is that Hillary will never be remembered as America's first female president, but as the most overhyped, under-delivering candidate in U.S. history. And thanks to Megyn Kelly and J.D. Vance, that truth can't be rewritten, no matter how many excuses Hillary spins. The wildest part? She still clings to relevance, as if one more interview or podcast appearance will finally convince the world she was right all along. But Megyn calls it what it is: the political version of a bad sequel. Nobody asked for it, nobody wanted it, and yet Hillary keeps rolling out the same tired script. J.D. Vance adds that her refusal to bow out gracefully doesn't just expose her arrogance, it's holding her party back. Every time she resurfaces, Democrats are reminded of 2016, reminded of failure, and reminded of the candidate who turned a coronation into a catastrophe.
Hillary Clinton.
Speaking of evil.
Yeah, exactly. Who amazingly, has been out there celebrating the Trump conviction. Now, we played this the other day, but I'll show it to the audience if you missed it. SOT 3. Here she was after he was convicted at a speech.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Anything going on today?
Megyn Kelly doesn't stop at arrogance. She digs into Hillary's hollow champion of women narrative. If Hillary truly represented a movement, Megyn argues, she would have inspired millions to rally behind her. Instead, the only people energized by her campaign were paid consultants and wealthy donors. Regular women didn't see a leader in Hillary. They saw a career politician using identity politics as a cheap cover for a lack of substance. J.D. Vance drives the dagger deeper, mocking Hillary's endless excuses. In her post-election book, she blamed everyone. James Comey, Facebook memes, Russia, everyone except herself. Vance compares her to a failing CEO writing a memoir about why the market was unfair. The customers didn't get it, and the competitors cheated, never admitting the obvious. The product was garbage.
Clearly violated the law with that homebrew server that had been accessed by foreign agents. She compromised national intelligence information. She did things she would never have allowed anybody at the State Department to do under her. And that leaves me back to Schellenberger here. This is page 4 of his report. He says, he writes as follows: the Russian reports, again, that the Dutch spied on, that we got our hands on, also claimed, and listen to this. I mean, you probably already know this stuff, Glenn, but claimed that Attorney General Loretta Lynch, okay, this is back in 16, people, remember, Obama's president. Loretta Lynch is his Attorney General. And her DOJ/FBI are investigating the Hillary Clinton email scandal. And also now we learn simultaneously working with the Hillary Clinton campaign to
Megyn Kelly closes by emphasizing the dangerous precedent Hillary sets. Her refusal to accept responsibility isn't just about her career. It's about the culture of politics itself. If losing candidates can endlessly rewrite history to blame everyone else, accountability dies. Hillary normalized the idea that failure can always be reframed as injustice. But voters aren't buying it. Americans know when they're being gaslit, and Hillary's constant attempts to reshape her legacy only deepened the distrust that doomed her campaigns. J.D. Vance wraps it up bluntly. Hillary's story should be a business school case study in hubris. She had every resource, every advantage, and every opportunity, yet her campaign collapsed under its own weight. The lesson isn't just political, it's universal. Entitlement without competence is a recipe for disaster.